Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So instead of hosting 15-minute classes on Zoom every weekday at some weird time that not everybody's going to be able to make it to, I figured I would just record myself studying and upload it to hopefully bring some benefit. Before I start my study session, I would like to cover 3 things. The first is the note-taking system I'm using. The second is the current book I'm reading, and the third is the objective of my current study session. So, as far as the note-taking system goes, I have tried a lot over the years, and I'm still trying new things. So I cannot guarantee you that this is my final version, if there ever will be one. But effectively, I have a bunch of just index cards, and I have them numbered. So this is the very first one for the book I'm reading. You can see the number 7, and I put the title of the book, and then I start taking my notes. And in this particular case, I started at page 40 because all the previous pages were kind of introductory. I just skipped them, at least for now. I hope to go back to them, but after I finish this side, I don't do the back side. I only do the front side. You'll see why in a minute. I go on 7.1, and I just continue like this. 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, and now I'm on 7.6. At the end, they go in this box, and then throughout this box, you can see a numbering system. Right here, so you can see, maybe you can barely see, but there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, there's a 4, there's a 5, there's a 6. Each one represents an article draft or a book or another piece of media that I could be taking notes on, and so I can just pull it up, and they can see that one is تطبيق النحوي, and then I can pull that one up, and all the index cards that follow, like 6.1, 6.3, are going to be in that order. So the reason why I take single-sided is so that I can just skim. Just flip through them and see them. I don't have to turn back. And the idea is this is to increase the chance of good serendipity, I guess. So if I'm brainstorming something or cooking up a lesson, I can just go through to get some ideas, and it acts as a table of contents, because if I hit an interesting idea or something I want to explore more, I include page numbers. So you can see in the current one, page 82, and I can just go into the book, open up page 82, and look for more detail. So that's the expected benefit. I haven't actually received that kind of benefit yet, although I have done something like it, which is called the Zettelkasten system. It's a bit of a more stricter system. I've received that kind of benefit from it, so I wanted to expand it to more general note-taking. So that's the idea behind this box. You don't have to follow what I do. I just want to give you some ideas. So the book I'm currently reading is العرف في فن الصرف. I got this book from صفة صفوة, which is a Arabic bookstore that I think is located in either Scotland or Ireland. It's probably offensive that I'm mixing them up, but it's one of the two. And I'm currently on page 82, as you saw in the latest index card. And I'm covering up the meanings of a type of wazn, أفعال. أفعلة, sorry, not أفعال, أفعلة. So words like أسلم and علم and عرق, and just any فعل that starts with a hamza, basically. I'm covering the meanings of within this book. So right now I've just covered the 6th meaning, and I'll be finishing up with, there are 10 meanings, I believe, from where I can skim. So I'll be finishing that up, inshallah. So let me move the camera over so that you can kind of see what my workflow is like. Okay, so you're gonna have to excuse my setup slightly since I don't have one of those cool table cameras. I'm relying on a tripod. But I want to show you something. So a while ago I finished this sentence here regarding al-ma'na al-khamis, so the fifth meaning, and I stumbled upon this word. I was reading, I said مصادفة الشيء على صفة كأحمدت زيدا وأكرمته وأبخلته أي صادفته محمودا أو كريما أو بخيلا. And I was like, what does مصادفة mean? صادفته, مصادفة, they both sound similar, and I didn't know what they meant. So I opened up my dictionary, the Hansware Dictionary of Modern Written Arabic. So this is not classical, so you're not going to find classical or classical meanings in there, but it gets you pretty far. And I have basic knowledge of sarf, so I said, okay, the meme is probably an added letter, so is the alif, and so is the ta, so the root letters are sad, dal, and fa. So I have a little sticky note in the back, because this came with half-price books, and so it's a used book, and it just happened to have been shipped with this sticky note. I didn't write it myself, but it came in handy. So I taped it up in the back. I think it was inside the book originally. In any case, I was looking for the letter sad, right, because it's musadafa, and so I knew it was after sheen, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I bookmarked it, so I already know where it is. It's this one, I believe. There it is. So any words I come across that I have never seen before, I underline in the dictionary and I bookmark. I might have to change it though, because it's getting let's just change it right now. Give me 1 minute. Alright, here you go. I use a superior bookmark. For reference, the other one came from this guy, which I've had for a very long time. So the glue might have gone weaker or something. I'm not really sure what's the problem. But there you go. I try to somewhat line it up with where the word is at. Let me lower it a little bit more down. It's right here, right? So it's going to be like somewhere here. There you go. And so what does musadafa mean? Encounter meeting, right? So the way Hansware works is commas means that it's describing the same meaning through multiple words. Semicolons means it's now going through an entirely different set of meanings. And so the first meaning is encounter/meeting. That's all part of the same meaning. But then chance, haphazard, coincidence, unexpected concurrence, that's a different meaning. Musadafatan is a third way it could be used, and could mean by chance, by coincidence, accidentally. So basically we have two meanings, because we know it's not musadafatan. And it could either mean haphazard or just a regular old meaning. Well, based on the context, it probably has nothing to do with being haphazard. It's just a regular old meaning. So musadafatu ash-shay'i ala sifa. So then it becomes the meeting of a thing upon an attribute, right? Or upon an adjective or description. And then he gives examples of this meaning. Ahmadta, the kaf here is just meaning like. So the actual example sentence is Ahmadta Zaydan, right? So the first example is Ahmadta Zaydan, and then wa akramtuhu, wa abkhaltuhu. And you might be like, how do I know the tashkeel of these words? Well, remember we're doing the wazn of af'ala, which is already mashakkal, right? Every word upon af'ala is going to have alif sukoon, fatha sukoon, fatha fatha, right? Of course, the ta as a pronoun makes the last letter of the fi'l al-madi, the past tense verb, have a sukoon, which is why it doesn't have a fatha here, right? So ahmadtu zaydan, akramtuhu, abkhaltuhu, which means yani, pretty much. صادفته محمودا أو كريما أو بخيلا. So I met him محمودا, doing hamd, right? Being praising, right? أو كريما, I met him generously. I met him while he was being generous. أو بخيلا, I met him while he was being stingy. So, and you can also say that with just one word, أبخلته. Technically 2 words, right? Because the ha is a pronoun, which is amazing and also very confusing. You're reading Arabic, you would think أبخلته. That sounds like I made him broke or I made him stingy. But no, it means I met him when he was being stingy. Or I met him as he was being stingy. Which is really, really interesting. And again, it gives you the idea of like, one of the things you want to, I think, look out for when you study Arabic grammar is not just passively take this information, but kind of think about how you would have processed it before you've learned this. And then how you're going to think about it now, right? So now if I see a word with this form, I may think maybe it doesn't mean that I made him this, but rather it means that I found him like this, right? And that's the point of this list. It's not to be just passively read. It's meant to actually be used, right? So I learned this meeting. It was very new to me, so I wrote it down. So number 5, page 82, you can see here. Meeting someone with an attribute, or I could have said upon an attribute. And then I wrote down the example in red. I like to write things down in red if they're, as like attention grabbers basically. So أحمدت زيدان A صادفته محمودا. And I did the same thing for the 6th one, استحقاق, meaning entitlement. So and here he brings 2 examples. I put the second one in because I liked it more. أزوجت هند, meaning استحق هند الزواج. So Hind deserved marriage, which is very interesting again. أزوجت, you would think, or أزوجت, sorry. أزوجت Hind, you're like, أزوجت, so she got married? No, she didn't get married. She only deserves to get married. Or has a claim for it. So let me get them on السابع الثامن. So I'll do this one live, and then I'll probably end it because I think you would have gotten the idea of how I do my study. And you can imagine I do all my study on this table. A tip I would recommend is to try to keep your table as clean as possible. You make your learning fun. But I try to do it here. If you're new to learning, I don't recommend you stick yourself to one spot. Learn as much as you can, read outside, read whenever you have time. Later, you start to want to do more with your reading, and naturally, you'll dictate a spot. You'll get all these tools and, different pens and flashcards and whatever. And that's not hard to maintain that, because you've already been doing it for so long, right? So I just want to be clear, I don't recommend you necessarily copy me if you're just starting out. But in any case, let's see. السابع التعريض. Okay, تعريض من عرضة. Interesting. I think that's at least the root letters. This is a new word to me, so I'm gonna keep that in mind. And then he brings examples. أرهنت المتاع أبعته. أبعته. It's not from أفعلته. It's not from أفعل. أبعته. Interesting. So I'm gonna also keep that in mind. عرضته للرهن والبيع. So البيع, I think I know what it means. It means to sell. So this is very new sentence. Luckily it's small, so it's I can spend time analyzing it without much of a problem. So التعريض عرض. Well, let's pull out Hansberg. Okay, the عين is in the middle, basically. So we're gonna just open it. Let me zoom out a bit. Whoop. Trying not to hit the stop record button because I don't feel like taking out a video editor to combine the 2 videos if I accidentally stop this one. So عين. I'm at the fa right now. So do I need to go? I need to go before I went too far. Let's see. There's the gha. So I just need to go a little bit before. I'm doing everything through the camera, so it's taking a little bit more time than it should be. Ain. What was the word again? A ta'weed. So we're looking for awada. Oh, there's awa. We're close to it. Dal and dad. The dal is here. Dot is after. We're at the ya, which is at the very end. Okay. عوقا عوذا عوقا. Well, the qaf is right here, so the dot is behind it. So it's gonna be on this page. Let's see. عوذا عوضة. There it is. I'm gonna zoom in. So عوضة, the past tense of it is عادة. The verb in the مضارع is يعود or يعود. And these are the مصادر: عياض, عواد, عود. So to give in exchange, pay as a price, right, to replace. So this is our form 1, which is great, but we're looking specifically for التعويض, which is an ism. We know it's an ism because it starts with an alif lam. So there's ta'wid, replacement, substitution. Okay, that's a useful word to know. Ta'wid. So I'm gonna just underline that. And then I'm gonna bookmark it. And again, try to put the bookmark where the words is at, so I can easily find the underlines. And if I'm at some point become comfortable with it, I remove the underline, right? So there it is. التعويض, substitution, compensation, indemnification. That's a new English word. Reparation, reimbursement, restitution, settlement. Okay, you kind of get the idea. I'm gonna put it back. So let's try to read it again. التعويض كأرهنت المتاع. So عرضته للرهن. What does رهن mean? So again, I kind of get the idea though. أرهنت المتاع. But I really, I want to make sure I understand before I move on. So there's the ra, there's the dal. It's gonna be before. Let me zoom out again. And actually, I'm gonna just pause it and look. So there is the word, right? The original word, just for a reminder, was where is it? Arhant, right? So arhant here is from rahn, which you can see the verb of rahan, rahana, or yarhanu, sorry, which means to pawn, deposit as security, right? And here's the form 3 meaning of arhana, which he also explains here. So it means to bet, lay a wager, as security. So ta'wid is to compensate, arhant is to lay a bet. But here he's referring to it as a meaning of compensation. So there could be a difference between the modern meaning of Hansware and the classical meaning that this book refers to. So we'll keep that in mind. But generally, it means to pawn, deposit as security, to mortgage, to bet, to lay. Let's see what the ism means: pawning, mortgaging, pledging. Okay, so something to do with pawning, essentially. Pawning or depositing. So I'm going to underline it. And bookmark it. There you go. Okay, so that's rahana. There's another word I don't know though. And that's, let's see. المتاع. المتاع. So this is متاع. So I'll be right back. So there it is, متاع. The original word was السابع. There it is, المتاع. So we want to look underneath the verb. There it is, متاع. It's not متاع, it's متاع. So I got that part wrong. متاع, plural, أمتعة. Enjoyment, pleasure, delight, and gratification, or being the object of delight, or necessities of life, or chattel, possession, property, or goods, wares, and commodities. Is it commodities? Yeah, commodities, merchandise, furniture, implements. So very interesting how it goes from enjoyment, pleasure, delight to like furniture stuff. But yeah, articles of things, objects, stuff, odds and ends. Okay, so since we're talking about pawning here, right? From arhana, and this is probably means then not just like not as a sense of delight, but probably as more things like objects and furniture. وأبعته. So عرضه. Sorry, عرضته. عرضته للرهن والبيع. عرضته, I compensated him. للرهن, or either pawning, والبيع, as in, I guess the selling. أرهنت. أرهنت المتاع وأبعته. That's such an interesting word. أبعته. It's not normally this difficult. I went through all the other ones, not with for a bit of ease, but this meaning is striking me as a bit odd. Especially because compensation, to fit the meaning of compensation, just a single word, how would that look like? How would it be done? So أرهنت المتاع. أرهنت المتاع. المتاع, sorry. أرهنت المتاع. So I'm gonna just take notes here. 7, meaning 7. Before I even write down the translation, okay, I'll write down the translation. So it's compensation, we know that. Compensation. And as an example, there's only one. Or there's two. About to whom? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, there are two examples. Well, bi'a. So about to who means bi'a. And then the other one, arhantu, is the one that's more complicated. I think it's more throwing me off. But maybe this is something that we should look into. Might be a clearer example. So arhantu al-muta'u. Arhantu al-muta'u, right? And arhant means we said pawn. And muta means goods or furniture. So there it is. I said arhantu muta. And I should write down the meaning of it, the sentence. عرضته للرهن. So basically I pawned stuff and then I compensated him for it. right? I think that's what أبعته. I think this is wrong. The تشكيل for this is wrong. Because it's أفعل. So أبعته. I'm pretty sure. أفعل. أكرم. Right? أبعت. Oh, oh no, I see why. Because there's a حرف علة here. The ya is missing. The ya is missing. So in fact, it becomes the ba and the ain are the only letters from the root here. The ya is not there, so that's why it's has a fatha. Abatuhu. Okay, interesting. So abatuhu. Let's do this is out of curiosity. What does Hans wear say on the third form? So ba, that's all in the beginning. Let's see. Oh, sorry. It's yabi'u. It says a ya. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at the alif section. So it's gonna be noon. Yeah, it's on this page. There it is. So ba, right? I think to sell. Yeah, we kind of hopefully know that. So form 3, to make a contract, to pay homage, to acknowledge a sovereign or leader, pledge allegiance. Ba yabi'. So where is this? البيع. Well, what does بيع mean? For sale, it's compulsory. بالجملة means sale. Has no meaning of pledging. So when he says أبعته, he means to pay homage. To make a contract. Interesting. The meaning of ta'weed here, there might be something we're missing. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I had a bookmark. This is why bookmarks are useful. No, not this. Let's see. There it is. Ta'ween. Compensation, satisfaction, compensation. Interesting. Um, those two examples are quite interesting. I don't really know. I had to. I'm gonna ask about them. So that gets 2 question marks. There you go. Because I feel like I roughly get it. أرهنت المتاع يعني عرضته للرهن رهن. So like I compensated him for the pawned goods, I guess. Let me just check one more time for رهن. Ra is more so in the beginning. Probably this one. There it is. So what does رهن mean? Pawning, mortgaging, pledging. Yeah. So this is probably not that widely used anyway, but there you go. 30 minutes to figure out one sentence. That's how Arabic goes. Sometimes you blaze through 80 pages and then a single sentence makes you spend 30 minutes. It's just the life, you know? And hopefully you kind of figured out at this rate how studying Arabic looks like. It's not something you just kind of get a map and then you follow, and then eventually at the end you can just read everything. It takes a lot of effort, piecing pieces together. It's really one big puzzle that never ends. But I enjoy the process. Alhamdulillah, it's not bad. And you get better and better at it. In the beginning I would have never been able to fly through these 80 pages. I would have been stuck on the very first page. So this is a massive improvement. So sometimes, you just get stuck and you kind of just have to figure it out. And a good roadmap, unfortunately, doesn't really exist. And I don't think it will ever exist, considering just the nature of languages. It's not how languages work, right? There'll always be something that's not documented or that's outside of the main path. And you'll stumble upon it because whatever is not common is still used. And when you get into niche works and books, especially like this, you are most definitely going to stumble upon these cases, especially when the job of these books is to document these uncommon cases. So you take what you can, and if you don't fully get it, you keep going. So there you go. This is a brief study session with me. Hopefully it was helpful. And inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow if this thing is worth continuing.